Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today, guys, today is my reasonably timed March wrap-up. No, gone are the days where the wrap-up appears in the 20th of the month. This time, it is not the 20th of the month. I don't know when I'm gonna post this, but it will be before the 20th of the month. If it's not, you can beat me with a stick. So, in the month of March, I read 5 books. I read 5 books. And it comes out to roughly about 2,500 pages or so. So I did a little better than I did in February. I did not read a ton in February. It's a weird mental health month, as I discussed. But so I kind of got back on track. And you know, one book kind of bled into the beginning of April, but who cares? Like, none of this matters. Like, y'all aren't friggin' taking notes. You're not gonna report me to the board. So out of those 5 books, 1 was a 3.5 star, and then the other 4 were 5 stars, because my 5-star strumpitude continues. So, without wasting any more time, let's get down to business. First of all, like, it's been a long time since I actually explained why I do that. If you're not, like, this started, like, okay, so when I first started BookTube, every video I watch, right before anyone gets into it, everyone says, without further ado, and then they go into their video. And like every video I watch, because I mean I did it too, I'm like, without further ado, and I'm like, when do we say that sentence? Like, what other time do we use the word ado? Like, we just say without further ado because it's just what you do in these situations. You just say without further ado. And so in a video, it was a long time ago, I talked about how I was determined to not say without further ado. And so I tried a bunch of things, and then I just ended up settling on without wasting any more time. And I don't know where the Mulan thing came from, but I did it once, and now I like it. And Disney once dinged me. So now I show a much shorter clip, so suck it, Disney. So that's why I do that. So if you're wondering why I don't say without further ado, it's not, I mean, it is because I'm weird, but that's really why. Like, I was just, you know, trying to be like, oh, why does everyone say without further ado? This is dumb. All right, so my 3.5-star book this month was Boucher Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. This is the first book in Sebastian de Castell's YA Spellslinger series. And I really liked it. I did not love it the way I love the Greatcoats. Sebastian de Castell definitely has a certain style of writing. It relies heavily on Here Comes the Cavalry and some Deus Ex Machina. There's witty banter and dialogue and really kind of getting your heroes into deeper and deeper crap. And I love this. Like, as a DM for however freaking 30 years, however long I've been a DM, I love getting heroes into worse and worse and worse situations because the triumph is so sweet when you bring yourself out of it. That's why when I won that challenge, oh, just the glory of winning a challenge after being brought so low. And so you have a lot of that here. But it is younger. Our protagonist is 16, and unlike Falkio, Brasti, and Kest, he is not super interesting, which is, and that's not really even my main issue. He just he's not good at anything. So a lot of things end up happening to him. I do like the fact that he has to kind of be clever because he sucks at everything. So he has to kind of rely on his wits. So I did like those moments. I like the moments that kind of are Wild West. There's an Argosy, a woman named Farius Fairfax, who shows up. And, you know, she wears a cowboy hat and, you know, is kind of like a gunslinger and, you know, smokes a cigarette and deals cards. There's magic that deals with cards, and there's the magic of the sorcerers, which is what our main character, Kellen, is. And but it just, like, he was just young, and he wasn't, like, stuff happened around him. Stuff happened to him. He didn't seem like he had a ton of agency in the story, which is fine. I'm going to have a full review about this, talk more about the things that I really liked. But really, my main issue with this, and if you've read it, you know, and maybe you're different than me, the animal companion in this book just felt so tonally jarring to me. I'm not a huge fan of, like, the really, like, gruff, foul-mouthed characters. Just, like, that's not a trope that I love, where it's just like, ugh, I'm gonna, like, cuss at you and just be really unpleasant, because that's my personality trait. And the animal companion, unfortunately, has a little bit of that. So it wasn't my favorite. I mean, I better get used to it, because I mean, he's going to be in the rest of the books, I'm sure. But I think I'm going to like Shadow Black, the second one, more because of where the story is going. So I am really excited to continue the series. If you finished or if you've continued in the Spellslinger series, let me know if you kind of have the same thoughts. I know Kevin the Undying felt kind of the same way about the first one, where it was just kind of like, but then he really enjoyed the rest of the series. So if that's been your experience, let me know down in the comments. I'm super excited to get to the next one, which is on my TBR for April, but who knows if I'll be able to get to it. So, coming next are all of my 5-star reads, starting with Boucher Ruin, or Ruin, or Rune, depending on where in the country you live. So, this is by John Gwynne. This is book 3 in the Faithful and the Fallen series. I had a great discussion about this book with Petrick and Abby and Alex and Philip. If you haven't seen that, it's right here. I'll put a review up for this as well if you just want some non-spoiler thoughts. This is a great book, guys. These books are really hard to kind of like rate individually because it is all one continuous story. Unlike the Long Price Quartet, which is a continuous story told with 16 years or 14 years in between each book, these books pick up literally seconds or minutes after the previous one. And so it's really just one huge story told in 4 books. So everything I liked about the first one, or about the first 2, is still here. This kind of, as you'll see in our discussion, it kind of blends the first 2 the best, where it has these high action, these high octane moments, but also these kind of slowed down breather moments where the characters come alive, and we have all these great character moments. Some people on my hit list got, which pleases me, but there are still names on that hit list. So I am currently reading Roth, and man, everyone on my hit list better get got, or I'm gonna be upset. But Ruin is great. There's a couple things that just completely turn a bunch of tropes on their head. There was a part in this book where I literally cheered. I cried twice at just these epic, like, speech. I love things that are just prone to, like, grandeur. These epic speeches about loyalty and doing what's right and just, truth and courage. Oh, I loved it. It was so good. 5 stars. So good. Absolutely 5 stars on this one. My next 5-star book was Golden Sun, Boucher. I let someone borrow it, so I don't have it in my hand, which is the second book in the Red Rising series. And this was so different than Red Rising. We had a discussion, if you missed the live show, it was with Vish and Joanna and Charmaine. But it was, man, so different than Red Rising. Like, it is actually, like, it's in space, and I'm not gonna say a ton in case you know, I don't want to spoil it, but it is action-filled. In fact, it's so action-filled that for the first 100 pages, I'm wondering what the book's even about. Like Pierce Brown, what is the plot of this book? Like, there are so many plot twists in the first 100 pages. That plot twist. Like, oh, okay, this is what the book's about. Oh, plot twist, surprise, that's not what it's about. Oh, surprise, that's not what it's about. Oh, surprise, it's not about that either. And finally it settles in and I'm like, okay, I can deal with this as a plot. Guys, there are so many plot twists. There are so many, like, betrayals and reversals and turns of fortune. Very, very exciting. In the last third of the book, however, it quiets down a little bit and you get some really powerful moments between these characters as they kind of, I mean, these people are, you know, they're warriors. They have to be tough and invulnerable all the time. And so to watch these moments of vulnerability and connection between characters is just really, really great. I also really like what this book says about the nature of power. Just like the first one, it rolls into here and talks about what is power and kind of the price of revolution, and is the chaos of revolution better than just maintaining order? And so Brown's exploration of what power is in these books is probably my favorite thing about them. So I'm eager to see how that is continue to be explored in Morningstar this month. Look for the live show later this month on my channel as well. And so, like I usually do, before I get to the last books, they're together because they're books 1 and 2 in a series. I like to talk about what I've been watching. Usually it's an anime or what I've been playing. I'm still stuck on what is it? Whatever. I'm still stuck on when they cry. I haven't actually finished it yet. Higurashi, When They Cry, I think it's called. So I need to finish that. You can look at my February wrap-up, see what that's about. It's a bunch of murder. I guess what it's about. It's about girls murdering people. But this month, it's weird. Like, I always finish a game right before I film these wrap-ups. This month, I was playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the 3rd game in the Tomb Raider reboot games, and I mean, it was fine. Like, I mean, it was good. But I really only liked the first game in this series. The second one was a snooze fest. The Siberia one, the Rise of the Tomb Raider, I thought it was boring. Boring with generic. Like, I liked the first one. You're fighting creepy cultists in a creepy cave. Love that. Love the weird cultist, creepy cave stuff. But in freaking the second one, it introduces Trinity. Guys, here we go. Hashtag Walker Life lesson. Paramilitary organizations are the most boring enemy in anything. In your TV show, I'm looking at you, 24. In your video game, Uncharted's also. That's why the second one's boring. Guys, paramilitary organizations are boring. I don't care about fighting some stupid generic soldier in a bulletproof vest and his freaking... Oh, no, but it's different because he's got a skull painted on his face. Get out of here. I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's just boring. This one is better than that one because at least there's a lot of exploration. It's in a jungle. It's not in frickin' Siberia. There's not quite as much fighting. Elle told me when she heard I was playing, it's like, hope you enjoy climbing. Because, I mean, she's right. There's not a ton of fighting in it until, like, the end where it's just like, let's just murder everybody. So it's much more exploration-based. And I like the climbing stuff. What I do like is that it kind of explores the fact that, like, sometimes archaeologists, the people coming to study these relics, are, like, really terrible for these relics. The first kind of town you come to in the jungle, there's a woman who's like, hey, are y'all tourists? And she's like, no, I'm an archaeologist. I've come to study the whatever. I don't know what she's studying. I don't know. The Temple of Light. I've come to find the hidden city. And she's like, oh, well, I wish you were tourists. Tourists bring money. Archaeologists only take. And it's like, ooh, sick burn, Lara Croft. And guys, Lara Croft is the worst archaeologist in the world. I don't even think she owns a little brush. I don't think she owns a brush or a little rock hammer. No, she takes her freaking axe claw and she's like hacking away walls of these temples.
What is it? Laura,
What?
Abby said not to break anything.
I'm not breaking it. I'm restoring the original. Someone was trying to hide it.
And then she, takes the relic and everything crumbles behind her. Thanks for destroying 1,000 years of history, Lara. Well done. She's off. She's just freaking terrible. Lara, go home. You are bad at your job. Please stop. But it was fun. I finished it, and then I was going to platinum it. But to platinum this, you have to beat it on Deadly Obsession mode, which is fine. I don't mind playing games on hard. But what Deadly Obsession mode does, that is bullcrap, it removes save points from the game, and it does not autosave anymore. You can only save it at base camps, and they remove some of the base camps for the game. So you'll play 30 minutes at a time. And you'll get in the water. You can't use your Witcher senses, because they take that away from you as well. And in the water, there are piranhas. You can't see 360 degrees around you when you're swimming, and if the piranhas even see you, they one-shot you. Oh, you died? You lost 30 minutes of progress and have to go back to the base camp? Sucks to be you. I said, yeah, I'm not gonna do that, and eject, and that was that. So that is the game that I played in March as well. So now, my final 2 5-star books, and my favorite book that I read this month, it is Boucher Fireborn, Boucher Flamefall, books 1 and 2 in the Aurelian Cycle by Rosaria Munda. Now, I am just as shocked as you are that my favorite book of the month is a YA novel. And that kind of put me off because I don't usually read YA, mostly because the protagonists are young. As you saw with Spellslinger, I don't really enjoy super young protagonists normally. But the politics, the post-revolutionary politics, and the study of information control and the control through propaganda and the things that are necessary that make a revolutionary government no better than the government they overthrew, that kind of exploration, in addition to the absolutely real and heartbreaking and human relationship between the two leads, Annie and Lee. It was just so good. The relationship is so good, and it's not like hokey or like, or whatever romances are sometimes. It was just really well done. along with, and I mean, there's dragons, which are cool, but along with this post-revolutionary world, and the guy at the top, who's, you know, the Lord Protector. It was just fantastic. I have a review for Fireborn. It's non-spoiler if you want to check that out. It's so good. Please read it. If anything in that review sounds like it appeals to you, please read it. This was, if not for Long Price Quartet, Fireborn would have been my favorite book that I read this year. I also read Flamefall, its sequel. I loved Flamefall as well, also 5 stars. I personally, and I'm actually kind of in the minority on this, I personally liked Fireborn a little better, but not because Flamefall was any like lowering in quality, but because of what Flamefall focused on compared to what Fireborn focused on. So some of the focus of Flamefall was kind of off of a couple things that I really liked about the first book, and so because of that, I was just like, it's not that it's not good, it's also fantastic. But I wanted more of this particular kind of thread that I got in Fireborn, and so that kind of made me like Fireborn better. Though Flamefall, the way it wraps up, and the first of all, I like the new character it introduces, and I also like the other kind of plot lines dealing with revolution and what is too much. How far before the people under any government, how far can they be pushed before they kind of fight back? And then, like, even if you have it bad in your country, seeing it from a different country and how, like, the same kind of class of citizen is treated by its overlord. So I really liked that, getting to see a different side of what was going on. So it was also fantastic. So if you have not, like, I need the 3rd book to be out. But if you have not checked out this series, you definitely should. It's really good, even though it is YA. It's just YA because the characters are young. That's it. Otherwise, deals with completely adult themes. It is shocking. There are things that happen, and you're just like, what? Oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, again, as I said in my Fireborn review, there's a gut punch near the end of that one that I'm like, no! So guys, that's it for me. That is my March wrap up. Let me know in the comments what you guys read in March, what your favorite book that you read in March was. Have you read any of these books that I read in March? Let me know what you think about them down there in the comments. As always, information about my Discord and Patreon is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.